Are you frustrated with the return on ad spend you're getting from your Google ads? You're not alone. Many businesses find themselves struggling to maximize their advertising efficiency and profitability, particularly in this day and age. However, improving your Google return on ad spend isn't just about spending more money or cutting spend, it's about spending smarter. In this video, we'll explore 5 effective strategies that can help you enhance your return on ad spend and ensure your advertising efforts are yielding the best possible returns that are available to you. So let's get into the video. The first super important thing that you can do is use the correct campaign type and structure for your intended goal. So this also includes using the right bidding strategy and optimizing for the correct event. So a lot of the time I'll go into an account and audit it, and I'll look at which campaigns people are using. And quite often they're either using too many campaigns, too few campaigns, or they're using the completely wrong campaign type. So there might be an e-commerce business and they're not using shopping campaigns or performance max, or they're overly relying on one particular campaign and not really having a good structure in place. They may have oversimplified it or really overcomplicated it. You find everything in between. So it is a nice balancing act that you need to find between having too many campaigns, too few, and which structure. And to be honest, for most people, keeping it simple is probably the best strategy for you. And the reason is that if you keep it simple, Google only has one campaign to focus on, or 2 campaigns, and rather than you spreading all that money across all these different campaign types, particularly if you have a small budget, bigger budgets, this isn't as big of a problem. You'll normally find you'll get a higher return on ad spend by having less campaigns versus higher. The downside is you may only be focusing on your branded terms, which do give you a very high return on ad spend. So if return on ad spend is your main driver, that's what you should focus on and what will give you the highest return on ad spend. But if you're wanting to scale, there's different strategies you will need to use. When I say the right bidding strategy and optimizing for the correct event, actually going in and adding a target return on ad spend or reducing or increasing it can actually make a huge difference to campaign performance. So actually going in and setting a target ROAS when you didn't have one or tightening it up can actually vastly improve your return on ad spend. And quite often it is just a little bit of a massaging act there, that finding that sweet spot, which often changes. Sometimes you do need to make small tweaks when competition increases. You might need to lower that target return on ad spend. If you're finding your budget is just spending, raise it. Make sure you maximize your profitability and start bidding a little less by raising that target ROAS. So when I'm saying optimizing for the correct event, make sure you're optimizing for what you want. If you're optimizing for advocates, that's probably what you're going to get. If you are optimizing for conversion value, that's what you're going to get. As long as your conversion tracking is set up correct, you're feeding that purchase data to Google, it will find you more buyers. If you optimize for clicks, you're probably going to get clicks, even though that sometimes a maximized click strategy can do well. But I don't find at scale and for everyone, it is the best strategy. That strategy that I have mentioned in the past is really about bidding very low, and it can be used as like a catch-all standard campaign run alongside your other campaigns. So number 2, cut or focus on improving things that are performing poorly. This could be a poor performing campaign, it could be a poor performing keyword, product, or whatever asset that you are spending on. Make sure you go in there, and if you don't know how to analyze data, this is going to be very hard. And that's why being good at data analytics is very important for Google Ads. That if you don't know how to read the data, then how are you going to make decisions? So all of this is reading data, making a decision, having a hypothesis, testing it, and seeing what the outcome is, measuring it. So if you don't want to cut something, go and improve it. So improve your product title, improve your landing page, improve your ad copy or your product listing ad. Just make sure that you don't just let something that's doing poorly just sit there and expect it to improve based on nothing at all. That said though, if it's brand new and you haven't given it some time, then potentially time might be the fix. Number 3 is feed as much data as possible to the Google Ads algorithm. I cannot stress this enough. So what does this mean? Make sure you have your conversion tracking in place. So ideally you want both GA4 and the Google Ads conversion tag there. Have your GA4 set to a secondary objective if you prefer to use the Google Ads tag, but it really comes down to personal preference and your business. GA4 is going to go and remove some purchases it thinks that came from other channels. So if you're marketing on a lot of channels, GA4 might give you a fairer kind of comparison than the Google Ads tracking code, which favors and gives as many conversions to Google as possible. So make sure you've got Google signals turned on, use data-driven attribution. If possible, have your server-side tracking set up. This isn't a must, but it's going to give you a better picture for most people. Still won't be 100%. Regularly upload your customer list into Google Ads. That's going to help you improve and help Google know who are your customers, who's bought, who hasn't. If it's applicable, import offline conversions, because the more information you can give Google, the better the outcome's going to be. And number 4 that I find people underutilize is having a proper remarketing strategy in place. So this means remarket on as many channels as possible in Google. Now, Performance Max quite often does cover it, but on top of Performance Max, you might want to have a very, very low budget display campaign with the feed. So you have a dynamic display campaign, and I mean very low budget, $1 or $2, $3 per day. You don't need to have a big budget on that one. Other channels as well, make sure you're remarketing on other channels like Meta, TikTok, Pinterest, wherever possible. Like if you can maximize your remarketing efforts, your return on ad spend will improve. With Google, you'll also want to have a branded search campaign. To me, a branded search campaign is really a remarketing campaign. Then you can have shopping remarketing, you can have remarketing search ads, you can use a bunch of tools within there. So discovery, which are now demand gen remarketing. There's so many avenues you can remarket on, and you do not need to have a big budget on them. You can set them to a small budget. Number 5, and the last one, I've kind of touched on this, is become a data analytics wizard, because if you know how to find patterns in the data or anomalies or things that you could focus on more or things you could remove, the better you get at that, the better you're going to get at optimization. Optimization, for the most part, isn't overly complicated. You've only got a finite number of variables within Google, and that's why structure and setting things up correct in the first place is important. But there's lots of things you can do on an ongoing basis to improve. So there's lots of videos on this channel telling you how to do that, but before you can know how to do any of those, you need to know how to read Google Ads data. And knowing how to do that and then make a decision and testing it is going to be vital to you succeeding with Google Ads. So that's it, guys. Improving your Google Ads return on ad spend does take time and continuous effort. By implementing these 5 strategies, you are going to be better positioned to enhance your advertising effectiveness, driving not only more conversions, but also ensuring every dollar spent is an investment towards your business's growth. Remember, the key to success in digital advertising lies in constant testing, refining, and learning. Start applying these strategies today and watch your Google Ads performance transform into a powerful tool for your business's success. If you need help improving your return on ad spend, please click the link below. I'll see you in the next video.